The history of New York City is one of the oldest cities in the United States. It has a long and interesting history. In 1624, the Dutch people came to this land. They called it New Amsterdam. They built houses and farms near the Hudson River. In 1664, the British took control of the city. They changed the name to New York. The city grew quickly because it was near the water. Ships came to trade goods. In the 1700s, New York became very important. In 1780, son George Washington was made the first president of the United States in New York City. It was the first capital of the United States. In the 1800s, many people from Europe came to New York. They came by ship to find a new life. Ellis Island became the place where immigrants entered the country. The Statue of Liberty welcomed them. In the 20th century, New York became the biggest city in the United States. Skyscrapers like the Empire State Building were built. The city became a center for business, culture, and art. In 2001, New York faced a terrible event. The Twin Towers in the World Trade Center were attacked. Many people died, and the city was deeply affected. Today, the 9/11 Memorial honors them. Now, New York is one of the most famous cities in the world. It is known as the city that never sleeps. People from all over the world visit New York to see its history, culture, and energy. Top 5 places to visit in New York. Number 5. Wall Street. Wall Street is one of the most famous streets in the world. It is in the financial district of New York City. The name Wall Street comes from a wall that the Dutch built in 1653. This wall was built to protect the small settlement of New Amsterdam from attacks. Later, the wall was taken down, but the name remained. In the 1700s, Wall Street became an important place for business. People started to trade goods and money. In 1792, 24 stockbrokers signed the Buttonwood Agreement. This agreement created the New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, which is still located on Wall Street today. The stock exchange is where people buy and sell stocks and bonds. In the 1800s, Wall Street became the financial center of the United States. Many important banks and companies opened offices here. The area grew quickly and became famous around the world. In the 20th century, Wall Street was a symbol of the American economy. It faced many challenges, like the stock market crash of 1929, which led to the Great Depression. But it also recovered and grew stronger. Today, Wall Street is still the heart of American finance. The New York Stock Exchange, banks, and many businesses are located here. Wall Street is a symbol of wealth, power, and business. Number 4, Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge is one of the most famous landmarks in New York City. It connects the boroughs of Manhattan and Brooklyn, crossing the East River. The idea for the bridge started in the 1850s. John A. Roebling, an engineer, designed the bridge. Sadly, he died before the construction began, and his son, Washington Roebling, took over the project. Construction of the Brooklyn Bridge began in 1870. It was a very difficult job. Workers had to build huge towers in the river, and they faced many dangers. Some workers even got sick because of working underwater. Despite these challenges, the construction continued. After 14 years of hard work, the Brooklyn Bridge was finished in 1883. It was the longest suspension bridge in the world at that time. The bridge opened to traffic on May 24, 1883. When it was first built, the Brooklyn Bridge was a symbol of progress and modern engineering. It allowed people to travel between Manhattan and Brooklyn much faster than before. Today, the Brooklyn Bridge is an important part of New York's history. It is used by cars, trucks, bicycles, and pedestrians. The bridge offers a beautiful view of the city, and many people walk across it to enjoy the scenery. The Brooklyn Bridge is not only a transportation bridge, but also a symbol of New York's strength and determination. Number 3, Times Square is one of the most famous places in New York City. It is in the middle of Manhattan and is known for its bright lights and big signs. Times Square was originally called Longacre Square. It was a small and quiet area when it was first built in the 1800s. The area was mostly known for horse-drawn carriages and small businesses. In 1904, the New York Times newspaper moved its offices to this area. The building where the newspaper was located became very famous. After that, people started calling the area Times Square. In the early 1900s, Times Square became a center of entertainment. Many theaters opened, and people came to watch Broadway shows. This made Times Square the theater district of New York. During the 1920s and 1930s, Times Square grew even more. It became known for its bright neon lights and advertising signs. The area was filled with theaters, hotels, and shops. People from all over the world came to see the lights and enjoy the entertainment. Times Square also played an important role in World War II. During the war, it became a place where people celebrated the end of battles and holidays. On New Year's Eve, people started the tradition of counting down the seconds until midnight and celebrating the New Year. This tradition continues today. In the late 20th century, Times Square began to change. Some parts of the area became less safe, and many businesses closed. However, in the 1990s, the city made improvements to the area. Today, Times Square is cleaner and safer, and it remains one of the top tourist destinations in New York. Today, Times Square is famous for its lights, theaters, shops, and events. It is also known as the crossroads of the world. Millions of people visit Times Square every year. Number 2, Central Park. Central Park is one of the most famous parks in the world. It is located in the middle of Manhattan, New York City. The idea for Central Park came in the 1850s. The city needed a large public park where people could relax, play, and enjoy nature. In 1853, the New York State Legislature approved the plan to create the park. The park was designed by two landscape architects, Frederick Law Olmsted and Calvert Vaux. They wanted to create a park that felt like nature but was close to the busy city. They began building the park in 1807. Central Park took about 16 years to complete, and it opened in 1873. The park covers 843 acres, 340 hectares, and has many different areas, including lakes, gardens, and meadows. Over the years, Central Park became a place for people to enjoy outdoor activities. It has many walking paths, playgrounds, sports fields, and places for picnics. People visit the park to walk, run, bike, or just relax. During the 20th century, Central Park faced some challenges. Parts of the park became dirty and unsafe. In the 1980s, the city started to improve and restore the park. Today, Central Park is safer and cleaner, and it remains an important part of New York City. Central Park is a popular place for both locals and tourists. Every year, millions of people visit the park to enjoy its beauty and peaceful atmosphere. It is a place where people can escape the busy city and experience nature. Number 1, Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty is one of the most famous symbols of the United States. It stands on Liberty Island in New York Harbor. The statue was a gift from France to the United States. It was designed by a French sculptor named Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi. The idea for the statue came in 1865, after the American Civil War. It was a symbol of freedom and friendship between the two countries. The statue was built in France and then shipped to the United States in pieces. The assembly of the statue started in 1884, and it was completed in 1886. The statue was officially opened on October 28, 1886. The Statue of Liberty is 151 feet, 46 meters tall, but with the pedestal, it reaches 305 feet, 93 meters. The statue holds a torch in her right hand, and in her left hand, she holds a tablet with the date of the U.S. Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. The statue was designed to represent freedom and liberty. It became an important symbol for immigrants who arrived in the United States through Ellis Island. The statue welcomed millions of people who came to America looking for a new life. In 1924, the Statue of Liberty became a national monument. Over time, it has become one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world. Today, the Statue of Liberty continues to be a symbol of freedom, hope, and democracy. People from all over the world visit Liberty Island to see the statue and learn about its history. Thank you for watching. I would appreciate it if you liked and followed.